been a while since I posted a video. Just wanted to go over a couple things first, and then I'll get into the topic of video. So an update with the car. It's in storage until about April, and unfortunately, where the car is being stored, I can't work on it. So there's probably not going to be any Firebird videos over the winter. I'm gonna try sneaking in some interior stuff. They can't really say anything if I'm sitting in the car, but I want to change the shifter knob. I need a ashtray cover. The car don't have one. My mom lost it or broke it or whatever. The cup holder that is in the dash, that's cracked. So if you try using it, that's probably just gonna break all the way or fall out. So I'm gonna replace that. The sun visors, I gotta get those door panels, and the headliner needs to be redone, but I'm gonna have somebody else do that. Or I might just get a plastic one. And the dash pad, that has a giant crack in it, and there's a hole where the heating vent is. But that has a dash mat on it right now, so I'm not too concerned about that. And there's some things I gotta do on my truck, so I might do some videos on that. But now I want to get into the topic of the video. So I've been using duralast parts for the last couple years and never really had an issue until recently. Um, with my truck and my car, I've been using those parts. But with the Firebird, I've been replacing parts, for the last couple months, just as like a maintenance thing, because most of the car is all original. So, all those parts were almost 26 years old. And, something was telling me, like, don't be cheap, just go out and buy the GM parts. And, for the most part, if you can even find, AC Delco parts or anything like that. But AutoZone was the only part store that had the parts I wanted or needed in the store. Granted, I did have to drive 40, 50 miles to get the parts, but, regardless, they still had them in stock. And as I've mentioned in numerous videos, I'm not really a patient person when I have to wait for car parts. I really want to get things done and just get it out of the way. So that's why I went with those. And about a week or two before I put the car in storage, I drove it to a friend's house, and I was sitting in a parking lot. I went to go start it. It started up. It was probably running on maybe 4 cylinders and then shut off. And every time I would try restarting it after that, it would start up, run for about a second, shut off. And then, a couple minutes go by, and it got to a point where it literally did nothing but turn over. So I thought the fuel pump was dead. So I left it in the parking lot overnight. I came back the next morning. Um, I was praying. I'm like, well, maybe I'll get lucky, and it started right up. And it did. It started right up like nothing was wrong. So I hurry up and drove it to a shop up the road that's like a GM specialist. He hooked up a smoker to it, and the evap purge valve was leaking. And I replaced that part maybe a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. Only had a couple hundred miles on it, and it was the duralast part that failed. So I'm going to be replacing, the parts I did replace with Duralast parts. I'm going to be just going out and getting AC Delco parts. And if I can't find those, I think Delphi is like the next best thing compared to AC Delco. The fuel pressure regulator was a Delphi. I didn't want to cheap out on that. And a couple other parts I use from O'Reilly's, the standard ignition brand. I got the ignition control module, that brand. And I believe the map sensor might be Duralast, but either way, both of those are getting swapped out for AC delco. I'm just not going to worry about it anymore. I'm just going to spend the money and have some sort of peace of mind, I hope. So now let's roll on to my truck. I've replaced all 4 tie rods and both front wheel hubs with Duralast Gold parts. So recently I've replaced the driver's side hub. It only lasted about 6-7 months, and I'm a very careful driver. If I see any sort of uneven spot in the road, I avoid it. No, it's not just potholes, but like any sort of little dip or anything in the road, I avoid it. So I know it wasn't that. The struts are kind of worn out, so that might have led to it, but like I said, I don't really hit bumps too hard. So I kind of just ruled that out. And the tires that I have, BF Goodrich KO2s, that really ain't going to make that much of a difference on the reliability of the part or how long it lasts. Tie rods, maybe a little bit, but nowhere near that. So I replaced that because it failed, and I did get it free under warranty, so that was good. And all 4 tie rods, like I said, were replaced, and now my driver's side, one of them, I haven't checked it out yet, but one of them is bad already. So, that failed, and I'm assuming the passenger side hub is probably going to fail at some point, so hopefully I'll get that. I should get it under warranty again, but so far, the brakes, I've changed out both front calipers on my truck with Duralast calipers. So far they seem to be doing okay. I hope they just don't lock up for no reason or fail in some sort of way. But the brake pads and the rotors kind of seem okay. But so that brings me down to my conclusion that I'm just not going to bother with Duralast parts anymore. The mass airflow sensor I've replaced in my truck with Duralast, that it's holding up right now, but there's always the possibility it's just going to be like all the other parts I've owned or replaced, and just it's going to fail. So I'm not done with AutoZone itself. I can still get GM parts through them or Delphi or whatever I want. I can still go in the store, get tools, fluids I need or whatever else. But as far as Duralast parts, I'm pretty much done using them. So kind of goes to show you get what you pay for. If you really don't want to have to keep replacing things, just spend the money once, get a good part, and be done with it. So hopefully this helps you. I'm not telling you to stay away from Duralast parts. You can use them, if you want. If you don't have the money to get good ones and that's all you can afford and you need a part, do it. But in the long run, if you want to keep all that stuff to a minimum, just get a good part. So honestly, yeah, AutoZone, it's really the only place I really go sometimes. I've been going to O'Reilly's a little bit more recently. All the stuff I did to the Firebird, I got it from there. The water pump, the belt, harmonic balancer, and a couple other things, this thermostat. And I got all that through O'Reilly's. All that's doing really good. So hopefully that lasts. But there is still a couple sensors in the car that are Duralast. The idle air control valve and the sensor in the water pump. So that is also Duralast, and I really just want to replace those. So that's been my experience with Duralast parts for the last couple of months. And I don't know, let me know if you guys have had any of the same experiences with it. So now that you're all caught up, like I said, the next couple of videos will hopefully be me replacing things on the interior of the car or my truck. So thanks for watching.